Hey, what's going on, softball fans? Got a great interview for you today. It's actually a repeat interview with Paige Tonz. If you remember in the past, episode 33, she came on with us back in June. If you haven't listened to that episode, pause this now, listen to that, hear her story, and then come back and listen to this. But before we get into the interview, we're going to give a little love to B-Ram Sports. The B-Ram Sports hitting rope was developed by Mike and Chelsea Bramlett, who was a former guest on our show. It's a lightweight and portable hitting tool that provides immediate feedback on your swing and forces you to use the proper mechanics. It can be set up in the front yard, at the ball field, and even in the garage, because that's where I have mine, and it's working pretty well.
Yeah, this thing, the big thing today is swing plane. Swing plane, swing plane. Get on the swing plane with the pitch. This thing will help you achieve that. You got one in the garage. I got one up between the two trees in my house. And we also have one we take for the team to warm up with between games, before practices. Not before, during practice.
Yeah.
And thing works fantastic. For the price of it, you're not going to find a better hitting tool in the market.
That's right. Everyone should have access to high-quality, affordable hitting devices. And you can use it with your athlete, with your team, you name it. If you're a coach, you're a parent, you're a player that's hearing this, get mom and dad, unless you're old enough to do it yourself, to go to bramsports.com. That's B-R-A-M as in Mary, sports.com, and save 10% with promo code GYP10 at checkout. Nothing's better than getting better and saving money. Let's talk about this episode with Paige. Like I said, she was on episode 33. She's all about the mental game. And in the very beginning of this episode, we have something special. We haven't done this before. We've always talked about our daughters and we talk about our sons, with playing baseball and softball. And we actually had an awesome little snippet of what Paige does. She actually sat down and talked to our daughters, not face to face, but it was via FaceTime. They got to go through an entire session with her. And let me tell you, if you're a coach out there, if you're a parent, you're gonna feel and hear something from this little interview with the girls. I can't say interview, a session with the girls. It'll blow your mind, because for us it did as well. The girls came out from this and they were like, "This is great." From visualization to getting confidence, the whole 9 yards. It was great, and what we heard from them was even better. And we haven't even technically heard this session yet as parents. We wanted to wait until it actually comes out to actually hear it. So we're looking forward to it. But what we heard from the girls, we want to come back for more, that's for sure.
Yes, I'm excited to hear that. Like you said, we haven't listened to it yet. I just know their reactions to what they went through, and they were in love with it. They couldn't wait to do it again. And speaking of that, we got to set up another session.
That's true.
So that we can have them do it again, because I think it's important.
Yep.
And I think that everybody who listens to it, I hope they get this. I wish they could hear what they had to say to us afterwards, honestly, because it was amazing. I haven't heard both of them talk like that about softball in a while, honestly. So I'm excited to listen to it.
And we'll talk about it more in detail of what we got out from them on this, because after the session with our daughters, we ended up talking to Paige, and we go through what she's doing today. And we already kind of talked about that in our last episode, but now she's doing it full time, which is absolutely fantastic. And she is just changing lives, and I think it's fantastic. And people need to really latch on to this, because the mental game is unfortunately something that's always forgotten. It's the thing you put on the back burner, and unfortunately in sports, you put that on the back burner, you're going to be sitting on the bench or not playing anymore a lot of times.
I think it's probably the most undervalued part of playing sports these days. Yeah. I think kids are so busy doing, this, doing that, that the mental side of it gets put on the back burner. And, some of those kids that have that mental toughness, or you say mental toughness, but like that mental mindset to be able to achieve through failure and things like that, those are the ones who stand out, and they're the ones that can keep a consistently high level of play. Yep. Even when things go bad, they still find a way to help their team and don't pack it up and go south out of nowhere on you.
That's right. So if you're into visualizing, overcoming failure, self-image, self-talk, journaling, confidence, staying calm in the most hectic situations, listen to this episode, share it with all your friends and family in the softball community. We'll talk to you after the show.
Hey girls, how's it going?
It's good, yep.
I'm so excited excited for tonight. We've been looking forward to this. Me and your dads have been putting this together, and it's finally here. So it's so nice to meet both of you, and I can't wait to do a little interview, kind of workshop, little mental practice, especially because you guys are both in softball. I was in softball. That was my main thing. So I'm just really excited to learn a little bit more about you guys and what's going on the mental side of the game. So we'll start with this. Well, first of all, why don't you guys tell me your guys' names again?
My name's Sylvie.
And my name's Olivia Bateman.
All right, Sylvie and Olivia. Okay, so I'll let you guys kind of answer. Maybe we'll go Olivia first, Sylvie second, or whatever one you guys want to do. But what positions do you girls play?
I play third and center field, but right now I'm mostly playing center field.
Okay. And do you hit right-handed or left-handed?
I hit right-handed.
Okay. And then Sylvie, go for it.
I play shortstop mostly, but I'm getting into playing third, and I'm right-handed. I bat right-handed.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, perfect. All right. So when it comes to softball, and do you guys play some other sports?
Yes.
What other sports do you play?
I play softball, basketball, and field hockey.
I play softball and boxing.
Whoa, that's so cool. Boxing, I've always wanted to do some boxing or some, I don't know, like whatever it's called, like some taekwondo or some like self-defense kind of stuff.
Yeah, we also do that.
That's so cool. Okay, so when it comes to softball, since we're talking more in depth with softball and you guys play travel softball and club, what are you really good at when it comes to softball?
Mostly at games. I'm really good at like motivating the team to like get off the bench and do some cheers during the game.
Nice.
I'm really good.
You're a leader out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. We like to cheer a lot and bring our teammates up if they strike out or they get out on base.
I love it. Okay, perfect. I love it. So this is actually, you guys just did a little bit of some mental game work. You guys just did a little positive self-talk. Like, yeah, this is what I'm good at. So we'll just keep that in mind. But okay, we're gonna flip the switch a little bit though. So what are some things that you guys struggle with when it comes to softball, or what's hard, what's challenging?
What's hard for me is like when I make an error and like I start to like get down, but like and then it like gets the whole team down, and then we make more errors when we're like sad and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's kind of like a snowball effect. So when one person makes an error, then another person doesn't feel so great, or well, that person definitely doesn't feel so great, and then you guys start to make more errors and mess up more, get more nervous. Okay.
Mine is if I like make an error and then I get down on myself and then I like forget where to go, or like if the ball's hit to me, where to throw it.
Yeah. So when something bad happens, then you're like, everything just leaves your brain and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing out here.
Yeah, that one error just stays in my head.
Yeah, it just sticks with you. And then for me, a lot of times when I was your guys' age, and still even today, when I mess up or make an error or I'm struggling with something that I do is I like to hold on to it for some reason. I'm really stubborn. I'm like, I'm going to bring this with me and be mad about it for a really long time, which usually doesn't really help, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would we do something like that? Yeah. But it happens. Is there anything else that you guys want to share that's like a struggle when it comes to softball? This can be with hitting, defense, like after games. Anything else come to mind?
Well, I'm trying to swing as hard as I can during batting, but it always ends up to be like a little like hopper kind of. And like it just goes like shortstop. But then when that happens, I have to run as fast as I can so I can make it on base. So that's like a challenge for me.
Okay.
Me,
good.
when I'm batting, I always drop my hands a lot, and I've been trying to get out of that habit. So that's definitely a struggle for me.
Okay, good. I want you to guys just like hold on to those thoughts, those challenges, those struggles. So have you guys ever worked on your mental game? Or like worked on the mental side or mindset or any of those things?
We have during like practices, but my mom wanted to be like a coach because sometimes our coach wouldn't like explain our like errors that we made. So my mom wanted to be a coach so she could fix those and like tell us how to fix our errors that we were making.
Okay, so working on like working through what those errors were, talking about the errors and working through it. Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Definitely, like, if I do make a mistake, I always get down on myself. So.
Okay. Good. Okay. Well, not good. We're gonna work on that for sure. I got you. Okay. So what happens when you guys fail? So what happens when you strike out? Tell me a little bit about like what happens right after a strikeout.
When I strike out, I try to like get it out of my head straight away. Sometimes I get sad, but then like I go to my bag, which is usually behind the fence, and I just kick the dirt and get it out of my head and then go cheer again.
Good.
Sometimes
Awesome.
I am definitely upset about it if I strike out looking on a really bad pitch that I should have swung at. But I definitely try to get back into the dugout and cheer for my teammates, and hopefully they bring me back up.
Good. You guys are rock stars. Okay. All right. So after we mess up, there's a lot of times we don't like feel so great, right? We're not feeling like our best. We're maybe a little bit down. We're frustrated because we work so hard at practice, right? You know, I've been in your guys' shoes. I know what it feels like to have those strikeouts, to make an error, to look silly out on the field, and it's so frustrating. And sometimes there's some tears that come with that. Have you guys ever cried before?
Yeah.
Yes, I have definitely as well. So I'm with you on that. You know, sometimes it's that car ride home and maybe you had a tough day and it's just like, it feels like the world is ending sometimes because you put so much time, so much work, so much effort into practicing and getting it right and working on your skills and working on where your hands are. And when it doesn't, and then you have these expectations for yourself, right? You want to be the best. You want to get the hits. You want to make the lineup, right? And when those things don't happen, it can be really, really frustrating. And we got to figure out how to overcome those failures and how to be confident even when we don't feel so great. For a long time, I had this like fake self-confidence. And have you ever heard like your coach or your mom or your dad be like, Sylvie, just, you know, go out to your at bat and just believe in yourself?
Yes, absolutely.
Every single time.
Yeah, every single time.
Yes. Okay, or like, Olivia, just go out there and like have confidence. And you're like, okay. And have you guys ever been like, all right, that's really great. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I would love to feel confident. I would love to believe in myself, but I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
So how do we feel confident and how do we believe in ourselves, especially after making mistakes or after messing up? And that's the big question, right? How do we do that? I would have loved to know how to do that when I was your guys' age. So I'm going to give you guys I'm going to give you how to do that. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like the secret sauce. Okay. So the how is something called visualization. Have you guys ever heard of visualization?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever done it before?
Well, yeah, mostly at bat sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to visualize, and we're going to go through a guided visualization together. And I'm not going to lie. You're probably going to be like, feels so weird. This is uncomfortable. But I promise you. So what visualization is and what it does for us on the mental side of the game and in softball is like, for example, like let's say that you get out, or have you ever been in a slump?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Me too. Don't worry. Okay. So when you're in a slump, you get out, you strike out, and you just like all you can think about is all these times that you failed, right? Like,
Yeah.
how are you supposed to go up to that next at bat feeling confident when all you can think about are all those failures, right? So what visualization is going to do, it's a tool that's going to help you see yourself succeeding. So we're going to see ourselves get a hit, see ourselves get home runs, see ourselves be successful in the box or on the field. We can use visualization for a lot of different things. And when we see ourselves succeeding, what visualization is, it's our brain is tricking our body into thinking that we actually did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool, right? Like magic. So when we visualize ourselves getting that hit or being clutch and getting that hit in that pressure moment or that pressure situation, when there's 2 outs or runners on and we're like, yes, gotta get this hit. I want to get this hit.
Yeah.
When we visualize ourselves doing that, what's happening is the next at bat, like, so if you were to visualize right before your next at bat and you just failed a whole bunch of times, do you think that you're going to go in with a better mindset and a little bit more confidence?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to practice this and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Okay. So, cause you're going to feel it. All right. So are you guys ready to get a little uncomfortable?
Sure.
Okay. You guys are the best. All right. So, in like your chairs, just like kind of get cozy. Well, I guess you guys got to be kind of close to the mic. Well, you're not going to have to talk a whole lot, but so get kind of comfy in your chair, as comfy as you can be.
Okay.
And I want you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. And you guys are probably thinking, man, this girl is crazy. I promise. This is the secret sauce. So just close your eyes, start to relax a little bit. And I want you to just take a big, deep breath. So a big inhale through your nose and then out your mouth and letting it all out. Good. I can see your guys' shoulders and chest rise. I want you to take another big, deep breath. So big inhale, 3, 2, 1, and then exhale it all out. 3, 2, 1. Good. I want you to think about your shoulders starting to relax. Think about them like melting away from your ears, like letting go of any tension, any nervousness. And I just want you to think about being present, being in the moment right now on this call, on this FaceTime with me. And I want you to let go of any worries that you have for later or anything that's happened today, whether it was at school or at home. I just want you to be right here, right now. And I want you to take one more big, deep breath. So big inhale. Good. And then exhale it all out. Perfect. Okay, so you guys should probably start to be feeling a little bit more calm, a little bit more relaxed. Still probably thinking this is a little strange. That's okay. Being present, focused, maybe gaining a little bit of confidence. And I want you to see the field that you play at. So I want you to picture that field that you guys play at the most, or your favorite field, where you play your tournaments. And I want you to think about what does that field look like? What does it sound like? What does that dirt feel like underneath your cleats? Are there bleachers? Are there stands? What do the dugouts look like? Think about what your team looks like in the dugout. And I want you to see yourself in the on deck circle. But I want you to see the most confident, powerful, strong, amazing version of you. Like Like if you could see your most confident version of yourself out there, standing tall, maybe you're smiling, or maybe you have a game face. Maybe you got that serious game face. That's how you roll. But I want you to see that, girl. What uniform are you wearing? What does it feel like to wear that uniform? What kind of thoughts are you having? I want you to think this confident, positive, powerful thoughts. And now I want you to see yourself starting to walk out to that batter's box. Like walking with your strut, maybe walking with confidence, excited, motivated. You're ready for this opportunity ahead of you. Maybe there's 2 outs, runners on second and third. You have the opportunity to get that RBI. But you're excited. You're like, yes, this is what I practiced for. This is everything coming together right here. And I want you to see yourself go through your routine, your hitting routine right before you step in that box. And I want you to see yourself set, ready to go, ready to hit against that pitcher out in front of you. I want you to see that pitcher out in the circle. And this next part, I want you to see it in slow motion. So I want you to see that pitcher starting her wind up, going around in that circle. And I want you to see her, making that release at her hip. And I want you to see that ball coming towards you in slow motion. I want you to see that spin on the ball. I want you to see you starting your swing. So starting your swing, getting the contact, and I want you to see yourself making that perfect, beautiful, amazing connection with the ball. So that ball is hitting the sweet spot of your bat. It's right where it needs to be. Everything, all of the parts of your swing are coming together, everything that you've practiced. And I want you to see that ball starting to soar over the center fielder's head. And I want you to see that ball going over the fence. We're going to hit home runs today. And I want you to see yourself rounding the bases. I want you to think about, what does it feel like to hit a home run? What does it feel like to have that perfect connection, hitting the sweet spot of your bat? A lot of times it feels really easy. It feels like natural. It doesn't, like, it's not hard. I want you to think about what it feels like to be successful, to get that clutch hit, to get that RBI for your team. And are you excited? Are you happy? Are you proud? Are your teammates jumping up and down? Are your parents climbing the fence, getting all crazy? What does that success feel like? What does it feel like to get that home run, that hit? Okay, go ahead and blink your eyes open. Back. Okay, so how do you guys feel right after visualizing?
Very confident, and it makes me want to go on the field right now and hit.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Makes me feel happy about myself and like make myself motivate me to go out there and do better next time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, you guys like totally got it. You're feeling like, I haven't practiced in probably 5 years or so, and I'm like, man, like, let me go out there. Let me go I can hit a home run right now. Like, let's get out to the field. You guys are probably like, maybe we should go do hitting practice right now. Yeah, I mean, those are the things that visualization is going to make you feel. It's going to make you feel confident. It's going to kind of calm yourself down. It's going to ground yourself. It's going to get rid of those nerves and just create excitement and motivation. And that's exactly how we want to feel right before our at bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if you were to visualize in the hole or on deck how do you guys think that would affect your at bat, your next at bat?
I feel like it would affect it because like you have to rush because you're almost up soon, and like it's not really a quick like process, so it like could affect like it could affect you from like hitting because like it has to go really quick.
Yeah. Do you think you'll feel better going into that at bat than if you were thinking about all those bad at bats in your slump?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Sylvie, did you have anything?
Not really. I kind of agree with her.
Okay, good. So we're on the same page. Perfect. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to share about visualization is it can be kind of long. Like that one was a little bit longer and very detailed, and you could really see it and you could feel it. But visualization can be really long like that, or it can be in shorter increments, like short snapshots. So in between your pitches during your at bat, you can just like see that, like close your eyes and just see that connection. Just see it real quickly. Like see your hands coming to the ball and that ball coming off your bat. Or on defense, you can, see yourself like getting low and charging the ball, right? You can see these little things. And Sylvia, I know you said you were talking about you've been working on your hands. So you could visualize seeing your hands in the right place, in the right spot. Feels good. Okay. So you can kind of break down and see different parts of your swing too. So it can be short, it can be long. The other fun thing about visualization is you can do it in the podcast studio. You can do it on the car ride over to your games. You can do it in the dugout. You can do it in your room. It can be anywhere, which is so cool. It's like a tool that you get to bring and you get to take control of.
Yeah.
So my challenge to you girls is I want you guys to start visualizing once a day. You think you can do that?
Yes.
And definitely before you're at bats. So we're going to do once a day and before you're at bats. What do you think?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So, lastly, do you guys have any questions about the mental game or any other things?
Well, I was going to say that usually on the car rides to like tournaments or games, my mom and dad always tells me like just think when you're on the field or at bat that you're the best on the team and you never give up. So that will like motivate me to have good hits and good plays like in the field or at bat.
Yeah, definitely. And now you can add a whole nother element. You can think those things and you can visualize them, right? Like closing your eyes, getting into the zone. Awesome. You guys have any other questions or thoughts?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, you guys did amazing tonight, and I'm so excited to hear how visualization is going to start, how it's like going to make you feel, how it's going to help you with your results on the field. But remember, you got to stay consistent with it, and it's a skill just like your backhand or your glove work or pieces of your swing. It's a skill that you have to practice. So remember, we're going to practice it once a day and before those at bats or in any other time that you guys feel like you want to use that. And I can't wait to hear about how it's going to help you guys on the field, and it's going to help you build that confidence, feel really good out there, and then do the things that you guys want to do out on the field. Get those hits, come in clutch, be the softball players that you guys know you can be. All right. Awesome job, ladies.
Thank you. Awesome job
nice
to you.
Yeah.
Hey, Paige, we want to thank you so much for talking to our girls. They got so much out of it, and we definitely want to tell you all about it.
It was so much fun getting to meet them, first of all, and then just going through our workshop via podcast style was really, really cool, and it was a really awesome experience for me as well.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, our girls were super pumped from that because we just left them alone. We didn't Hawkeye helicopter parent that situation. So they were in your hands, and it seemed like it was a lot of fun when we closed after we came back and opened the door up.
Yes, I can't wait to hear your guys' side.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this, before leading up to it, I had asked Olivia, I said, hey, Paige would like to talk with you and talk with Sylvie about, how your softball, how you play, some of the issues you might be having, some of the mental, barriers you're having right now. And she'd like to ask you some questions and really, kind of dig in deep with that. And she's just like, she was really excited, but she was like, well, what if I don't know how to answer a question? I said, trust me, this is what she does for a living. And this is something that, she'll be able to, she'll pull the answers out of you. So don't even worry about it. Both of them were so nervous. They were sitting here.
Sylvie had like 15-minute car ride over here and she was like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, we'll talk about softball. That's what you're going to talk about. She's like, well, what about softball? I'm like, the ups and downs and your process and the way you think about doing things. I was like, just nothing to be, nervous about. She's like, well, I just don't know what to say. I'm like, you'll know what to say. Just listen. And then what comes to your mind, just say that. And she will talk you through what you're thinking and why you're thinking that. I was like, it's nothing to be nervous about. It's just you being you and being you in this moment when you speak to her. That's all you got to do. There's nothing, don't try to be anything or say, there's no right or wrong answer. Just give the answer that you're thinking. She's like, oh, I can do that. I'm like, okay. So,
once I got them going, they weren't even nervous. But I did hear one of them go, I'm so nervous before we started.
That was Sylvie.
I'm sure. I was like, for some reason, she's like fearless when it comes to like performing. But when it comes to being the center of attention, she like gets nervous about it. You would never know it from watching her play. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking maybe we should put more girls on podcasts because... Probably. Well, I do some work with the girls in Marco Polo, which is a video. Yeah. It's like a video chat, video messaging. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so good for the girls to get their face like on video and have to see themselves talking and putting their face out there and like answering those questions. Cause I think that alone is like getting out of your comfort zone and building confidence in that's different area. It's kind of cool.
Well, if I could tell you, after the interview, they were telling us all about visualization. Olivia was messing up this word, and I was like, visualization. And she's like, I can't say it. And then when I try to say it, I can't say it. But they were both telling us all about doing that before they get up to bat, on the car ride to the game, in between innings. They were so excited about it.
Livy's 3 for 3 with 2 homers already, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And, yes. In the backseat of a Kia. But and they're talking about maybe we should do our own podcast. I was like, you know what, you probably would get more listeners than we do just because we're dads talking about softball. If two 11, 12-year-old girls were talking about softball, I guarantee you get more 11 and 12-year-old girls on YouTube watching you.
I'm sure.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And I would wholeheartedly support it. I mean, I've said for a long time that like the only public speaking I ever did was to a bunch of teenage kids or younger from coaching. Like I never did it to a wider audience. And then for a while, me and Dan didn't do video podcast. And then all of a sudden we started doing live videos and it was like a whole different world. We weren't just speaking to like the couple hundred people that knew us. We were speaking to people across the country, across the world. And it gets a little terrifying, but you get comfortable in it and you get comfortable ad-libbing and, kind of going through the ups and downs. I'm sure like what you were talking with the girls about.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Paige, the last time we had you on was June 25th is when that episode came out. It was episode 33. You were kind of on the, on the break of something good. It was you were just about to kind of, blossom out into something big here. From the time we talked to you to now, what has changed?
Oh, well, just my exciting news of going full-time in my business, which is like so exciting, and it's been amazing. It's been about a month now being full on my own, but amazing, great, also really scary and terrifying. Yeah, and it's really been actually testing my own mental game again. But it's all a learning experience, and honestly, it's just making me a better mentor and coach for these girls because I have to definitely practice what I preach, and I've been using my own stuff on myself and using my own mentor and coach in this this transition and this time. And, but being able to work with the girls full time it's definitely a blessing.
I guarantee it. Now, and we're going to dive into, the specifics of what you're seeing now since going full time and what people are getting out of what you're doing. But first, for the people that are kind of on the fence right now that are listening to this and are like, you know what, I could do this. I can do this. Online coaching. I could. I really want to stop working my full time job and do this. Are there any tips for that person out there that's kind of on the fence that maybe like, hey, don't make the move until this is in line. Don't make the move until this is in line. Is there anything you can kind of put out there for the coaches that are listening now that are thinking, oh, maybe it's time for me to do it, or should they just do it? Yeah.
Oh man, that is a hard question because I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I was ready even when it happened, but I did do, it felt a lot longer, but I was working my business on the side of my job for about 6 months or so. So it really wasn't that long, but when you're doing something that you love and you're doing something that people need and you're solving a problem for other people, I knew that this was, I knew once I started it, I knew it was something that these girls and these families needed. And the more I heard, oh my gosh, I can't believe, we've been looking for something like this. The more that I heard that, I knew that I had to keep going, and I just kept going and I kept going. And, I think for me, it's, I wanted to make sure that I could cover, the bills. So
right.
Covering that and knowing that you're not going to be completely stressed out if you leave, that was kind of a big thing for me. I'm kind of a control freak. So when it comes to that was really crucial for me. But once I was there, I was like, let's try this out. And, it's funny. I was actually, when I left my full 9 to 5, I was actually going to take on another part-time gig to supplement my income and make sure that I was good to go. But when I was on my own for about a week, I was like, this is amazing. I am loving being able to coach the girls whenever I want. I could take calls whenever I needed to, and fully work in my business every day and just grow. And that was a week of that, and I was like, okay, I'm not working for anybody else. So I better figure it out.
Now,
so I would say just sometimes you have to take the jump, even when you feel you're not totally 100% ready, and it's always going to be out of your comfort zone, which is what we're teaching these girls anyway. So might as well do it ourselves.
Now, what's it been like with the accountability side of it? Because I think that's a big piece. I think that it's easy to be accountable when you got a boss. You got somebody to answer to, somebody that tells you when to be here, when to be there. What's that been like for you now that you're on your own? Because, accountability is a big piece of sports.
Right.
It's a big part of what we talk about on this podcast.
Being a self-starter.
Yes.
Totally.
So what's that been like? And has that been difficult for you? Or do you think that some of the things, that you talk to the girls about, some of the things you learned from playing softball, from, that level of play at D1 like you had, is that helped you in this transition to fall back on those skills that you've developed over the years?
Yeah, 100%. I think one of my greatest strengths is taking action and doing what I say I'm going to do. And that's something that I definitely learned from playing softball and, simultaneously going to school and being that student athlete in high school and in college. Something that I've been talking a lot this month actually is the main focus is setting ourselves up for success is what I've called it this month. And I've been talking a lot about the planner and an agenda right. and how crucial that has been for me as a student athlete, but now as a business owner. I plan out my whole entire week as much as I can in one sitting before the week starts, so that I know that I am taking action towards the goals that I have. And it's just daily action and being consistent with that action. And that's what keeps it going. That's what keeps it growing. That's what keeps the wheels moving. And if I didn't do that at the beginning of the week, and I didn't look at what I needed to get done and what kind of action I needed to take, a lot of those are actionable goal items. When we're setting goals, like well, that's great. I would love to hit, 400, but how do I get there? So, it's the same thing in the business is, what are the things that have to get done? What are the things that need to be getting done so that I can achieve those goals? And it's not about the results. And it's been really hard to let go of the results and, how many girls are in my program and how many girls am I gonna get next month or whatever that looks like. But it's more so consistently providing value, consistently reaching out to people, making relationships, because those are the actionable items, and then the results will come. And it's so similar in sports. Yeah,
absolutely. For people that are listening to this now, they obviously heard the interview with the girls. They kind of hear what you do. But just for anybody that hasn't listened to episode 33, the first one, to kind of give it a rundown of what you do, can you just talk about name of your business and what is your main focus? And then what kind of results have you been seeing since you've gone full time over the last 30 plus days?
Yeah, so my business is the Mental Game Mentorship, and it's a mental training program for girl athletes. It's growing the mindset, it's shifting mindset, and I'm giving these different tools that the girls can use in sports and also in school. I've been having a lot of school successes recently. Actually, like my last couple calls today, it was like I visualized before my chemistry test and I was feeling really nervous. And when I visualized, it calmed myself down and I actually did really, really good on it. So that was really cool to hear from one of the girls today. But I totally went off on a tangent. But yeah, it's a mental training program for girl athletes. My background is softball, but I played a lot of different sports, and I have a lot of girls in other various sports. And since I've gone full time, the biggest difference is I just feel like I can show up so much bigger, so much better for these girls. And I'm getting to be able to, I get to create a community of girl athletes who want more, who want to level up, who want to be better than just what they're doing and figure it out and work through those things. So that's kind of like I feel like the main takeaway so far is like, I am just able to show up so much bigger for them, which is creating, more positive impact for them and me being a better mentor for the girls and the teams that I work with.
Now, you said something I really love, level up. And I think that speaks to our podcast in a way. Our podcast is about taking players and getting from, making your high school team, getting your player and going from, JV to a varsity starter, going from varsity to college, like level up, get to the next level, take that information. What are some of the biggest struggles that girls are having that you're seeing in it, that prevent them from doing that through this training?
The biggest thing with these girls is, I don't know if boys are like this too. I'm sure they are, but girls are so dang hard on themselves. We are so hard on ourselves, and I don't know, maybe it's a maturity thing, or I'm not really sure. I have no idea what goes on in our head, but we want to please ourselves, and we want to please our coaches and our parents and all of these people around us. And when we don't hit that mark, these girls are they're like defecating themselves. And, they're just, the big thing is they're really having a hard time overcoming failure and letting things go and just moving forward. And we're just, I speak for myself too, like holding on to those mistakes for way too long instead of figuring out and looking at it in a learning and a growth perspective. So that's a big thing that I have to work on. We have to work really consistently on, and how to tell ourselves positive things when we don't want to, and working through that. Those are definitely the main things that these girls are really struggling with.
Well, I can tell you that it is, it's for a male, we have the same insecurities and things like that, but we tend not to want to show any of that insecurity. So we're a little more stubborn. We keep it inside.
Unless you're a mommy's boy like me.
Well, listen, I didn't say I was not a mama's boy. But I will say, I feel like social media is making it even worse now today, because the amount of vanity that you see out there from celebrities, and then 12-year-old, 5-year-old kids making millions of dollars off of YouTube. What other people think is a huge thing today, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that, and how social media can be a good tool, but at the same time could also kind of be a backlash.
Yeah. I actually coach a social media workshop through Positive Coaching Alliance. And I've gotten to learn a lot about, what that looks like. And I'm on social media a lot.
Right.
It's like my main platform. So, and what I tell these kids, these teenagers, these middle schoolers, these high schoolers, is that social media can be, it's a tool. It's like a hammer, I use the hammer as an example because a hammer can be really useful, and it can help us put things together, and it can build things and create things, but it can also be extremely destructful. Is that even a word?
I like it. It
can be destructing, and it can ruin things, and it can damage things. And social media it's a tool. So it's a way to, it can be really, really amazing for these girls. And there's tons of awesome resources on social media for kids. But there's also like really, really horrible things. And I think, even for myself, I have to, my biggest rule of thumb, and it's really very, very hard, is to create more than I consume. Because we can get into this consumption mode, and we're just always looking and comparing and looking at and then just creating opinions about ourselves. And a lot of times it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. Like, look at this person. They have all these things. They've got everything going for them. And really, it's just a highlight reel. And I think it's getting better for sure, where people are sharing and being more real on their social media. But it just makes you want things, and it not always in a great way.
Yeah, well, you just said it's like a highlight reel. You usually only, the stuff that you see on TV and the stuff that you see on YouTube, social media, those are all edited cuts. Like you see the best or the worst,
photoshopped,
yeah, but
and everything.
You see the best of everything. So it's for the mindset of, even for an adult. I'm 35. I see things. I'm a musician. I see things. I'm like, man, I should be putting out some more videos of music, because this guy's tearing it up, and he's only 22 years old, or he's 17. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, wait a minute. Like, I have a job. I have a family. I have all this going on.
Yeah.
I'm seeing these, amazing videos that this person's putting out. Even as a 35-year-old man, it's like I see that too. So, when you're talking about highlight reels, like you're seeing the best of the best when you see it. It's not necessarily, the real life, and you shouldn't take everything at the full, you take it full face value. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that I do a lot of work for myself and with the girls with just positive self-talk and journaling and practicing being nice to ourselves and like creating, because I say this all the time. I'm like, what you think and what you say is what you believe. So what we have to work on what we think and what we're saying to ourselves consistently, just like it's a physical skill. Because when we do that, we're able to scroll through Instagram and still be 100% okay with ourselves, and remind ourselves, like remind ourselves that we're enough just the way that we are, and just looking at it as like we're learning and growing and we're a work in progress. And a lot of times figuring out how to put those blinders on and know that like you're good and you're confident within your own skin. And I think that is definitely something that we work on consistently. And it's work that I have to do too. Like I'm journaling and doing the same things that I'm telling these girls every day for myself. And it's super easy to get in that comparison mode and chase all the squirrels and shiny objects as well.
Now you got to practice what you preach. I mean, and that's awesome. What would you say a few of the top things are? I mean, I know you've been through a lot of what you are doing. What are probably the 2, maybe 3 top agenda items that the girls are really taking away from the sessions? Is it, self-confidence? Is it self-motivation? What would it be outside of maybe, I don't even know if it's those 2 things, but, what would it be along those lines that the girls are really taking away? Because I can tell you, what our girls just got up out of the same chairs we sit in and walked out of is amazing. Because there's nights we're here to podcast until 10 o'clock at night, Eastern time, 11 o'clock. And when we get up out of the chairs, we're tired, we're exhausted from a long day, and our girls were ready to go conquer the world. So, I mean, I can just tell you what they're taking away from it was fantastic so far. What would you say when you're working with these girls in a group, what would be those top couple things they're taking away from it?
So the top thing is it's definitely feeling more confident. I mean, that's what we all want, and that's what the girls want. But what comes with that confidence, and we did some visualization tonight, right? And I taught them how to visualize and see themselves having a successful at bat, getting a home run in a clutch situation, and visualizing those things. And what happens when we visualize those things, and it's so funny because when I take the girls through this guided visualization of hitting a home run, I'm like, man, I haven't even practiced in 5 years or been out like hitting against a pitcher in a long time. And I'm like, man, get me out there. Like I can go hit a home run right now if I really wanted to. It's this motivation that you don't realize that's what's happening. And it's like kind of like confidence and motivation kind of intertwining together. And when the girls are practicing visualization, it helps them stay motivated to go to practice and keep going, especially when you're in that slump or you're like just not really feeling like going to practice. And when you can visualize it and see yourself being successful and doing the things that you want, it helps these girls get more motivation and continue to feel excited about the game. And I think that underlying thing is like it's making it more fun and enjoyable for them. When a lot of times when we struggle and we're frustrated, it's not fun anymore. And we're crying in the car and it's frustrating, and there's always going to be those ups and downs. But when you can pull out visualization like a tool out of your pocket and do it whenever, wherever you want and need, it's pretty powerful. So that's probably I guess that's like one thing that the main thing that they're taking away, but it's a little bit more in depth.
Well, I've seen it before. I mean, scientifically, through visualization. My gosh, here I am messing up the word again. They've actually done it where they've hooked up all kinds of sensors to the brain and the heart, everything like that. And if someone can visualize themselves doing something, their heart rate actually races, the muscles fire in the proper order that they normally would if they were performing the act of whatever sport it is. So it is a powerful tool. I know a lot of people think it's like a foo-foo kind of thing and, it can't work for me. It's scientifically shows that your body doesn't know that it's not doing it. And it's kind of cool. Just the science and all of that. And, I've looked into so much of that stuff and it just blows my mind. It's so incredible how powerful your mind is.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. The other thing too that came to mind is, the girls are getting a lot out of just breathing, and I make them actually breathe in my guided meditations or guided visualizations. And when they breathe, I just say like breathing is a tool. You just have to remember to do it, especially when you're feeling nervous or your heart is racing or you're feeling out of control or frustrated. Like just take a few big, deep breaths and like calm yourself, ground yourself, and you're going to be able to move forward. And that's just like a really easy tool, especially when these girls have all these things going on in their heads.
It was funny. Sorry, Tyler, I cut you off. When we were finished, they were finished with their interview. That both girls were like, I am so calm right now. I feel so good. So I don't know if you did the breathing exercise with them in that or not, because I haven't listened to it yet. But they were just like, I felt so calm. I feel so good.
I'll be interested to see if my daughter, she has an Apple Watch, if she actually starts following along to the breathe app when it tells you to breathe, because there's an app that pops up and says breathe. Cool. So I'll be interested to see if she starts taking that part of it a little bit more seriously, because she wears it every day, wears it to school, wears it to practice, So I'll be interested to see if she puts that part of it to the test
awesome.
when
could like give them all the watches, but that might get expensive.
I just wonder. It's just like I wonder if she'll start taking it a little more serious. You know what I mean? Because I think for most she's probably never really given it any thought, but now that you've put it into her mind, now there's probably sparked something there. Hopefully it's sparked. I'm sure it will, because that's how she kind of gets obsessed when it comes to things like this. Honestly, that's just her behavior. She's kind of like. I wouldn't say OCD, but like she just gets
all or nothing.
Like she goes all in. She's crazy when it comes to those
That's
things.
awesome.
You know what I mean?
Good
like,
trait.
It is like she'll go 0 for 3 and she wants to come home and just take batting practice for 2 straight days. Like I gotta hit better. Or misses a ground ball. Like she gets
taking action.
Yes, like she doesn't want to ever put anything away. So I'll be interested to see if she puts that to work a little more.
Well, and it just gives them the motivation, because I guarantee you those girls right now would love to put into practice what you had just told them at their and unfortunately they don't have another practice for the next couple of days, but but they do have a tournament coming up. I guarantee they're like super focused on really putting this stuff into practice over the next couple of weeks.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You've talked to the girls. We've jumped into a bunch of topics here to add off of that and from the previous interview. Are there any other topics that you want to try and just talk about, or anything from talking to them that you want to speak about that people should focus in and listen to?
I think that and I know like a lot of times, like I'll have girls who jump in the program, and something I have to really emphasize, and I want the listeners to know this, like visualization it's a skill and it's a practice. I know a lot of times that it's really exciting at first, but it's the consistency that pays off, and it's the consistency, just like going to practice or getting your lessons or extra work in, but it's that consistency of practicing the visualization, practicing the positive self-talk, and journaling that out every day. And I actually added an element in my program with there's an accountability log. So these girls, they know that they need to write down, what kind of positive self-talk they did that day and what kind of visualization they did that day. And I really truly believe that the girls that are doing the work, that's the ones that are seeing results, and that's the ones that are seeing growth and mindset shift and real change. So I just kind of want to emphasize like how important consistency and that taking action really is, because it can be really, everything's exciting at first, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the ticket, the golden ticket, but it's the ones that persevere, the ones that are showing up day in and day out doing the work. And that's not really like the exciting thing to tell everyone, but it's the truth. So that's something that I think that I've added to the program that's really making a big difference as well.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because, goal setting is something you always hear all the time, but the reflection part of it is always something you do hear it, like it's one of the 7 habits of successful people, reflection. But a lot of people skip that part of it, and they just try to focus on, hey, I want to conquer these goals. Well, at the end of the day, if you don't see what you had accomplished to go towards that goal, I mean, it really does change. It does change your mindset. If you see that, hey, I did these visualizations today, I will get it one of these times. I did these today. I did, I worked on this today with my self-talk. Whatever it is, you put that down, in your journal. You reflect on the day and say, hey, wow, this whole week I put a lot towards all of my goals I'm trying to reach. It really does make that switch. And I'm sure you're seeing that with your girls, I'm sure.
I'll say, I know we got to do that with this podcast sometimes.
Yes.
I mean, no lie. And you talk about you went all in on a business. Me and Dan started our business earlier this year, and it's our part-time business now. So we're trying to when we did it, we're like, man, this is going to be our future. We're going to do this. We're going to figure out how to make this our full-time job. And then,
and then we get tired.
And then, things happen. And it's
like,
but then we got to be like, hey, we've done this and we've done this.
Yeah.
We look, man, can you believe, remember when we did this and we had, 2 people that listened or, whatever, 2 followers. Like, like those things are important. And that reflection is really kind of always helped times when we're busy with our kids, busy coaching, busy just working, traveling, doing whatever we need to do in our lives. We look and we reflect on all of those things, and I think it really gives us great perspective, and I think it's fantastic for younger girls. Our girls are 11 for people that are listening. They're not teenagers yet, but I think it's fantastic that you're trying to get girls in that age group to really think about the things they have accomplished and not just so much what they haven't accomplished, because I think the negative can outweigh the positive sometimes very easily.
Yeah, it's like figuring out that balance and knowing that balance, because we can be so heavily on what we have to do, what we haven't done, and it's like that reflection is so important, but it gets missed a lot.
Right.
And we talk about we talk about wins almost on every call, and like, what are the wins? Like, what are the good things? What are even if it's really small, and that it's really cool to get to talk about what they're doing well and have them talk about themselves, because that can be awkward and weird for athletes.
No, and I think it's great because I think so many you're coaching something not on the field. You're coaching, outside of the field. And I know me and Dan as dads, we sit at the softball field sometimes, and I know it's happened where his daughter like hits a rope and it's an out. And I'd be like, it happens. And he's like, I know. I'm like, but we got to remember, and I try to preach this as a coach, it's not always the end result, it's the process. It's, you went 1 for 3 today, but man, you just missed a double by this much or that much, or, you didn't chase these bad pitches and you drew a walk in a tough situation. They're like, you got to look at the process of the game and not just the actual end result of the box score sometimes, because you get jammed on the fist and get a little, flare that falls down the line and you end up with a double or a bunt that, gets you a base hit when it really wasn't a great bunt. But just things like that I think that, you got to talk about those wins and those successes sometimes, even when you do have your bad days at the plate or on the mound, whatever it is, if there's a pass ball or whatever your position is on the field. I think what you're talking about, Paige, is fantastic. I think more young girls need to think about that and remind themselves of those things and not just dwell on the failure. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to end this too short. I mean, if there's anything else that you want to speak on, because the table is yours. This is the last. I know it's been 30 plus days since you've gone out on your own with this. What other things are you seeing that are just really exciting and that's kind of giving you some hope for the future, and things maybe you found out now that you're doing this full time that, hey, maybe I should focus more on this.
I want to accomplish this.
Yeah,
I want to accomplish that.
Or have your goals changed since you've gone full time?
Yeah, I mean they're always shifting and changing, and I'm always trying to figure out how else can I serve the girls, or what can I create that's going to make this amazing experience. One of the things that is definitely very high on my list for this upcoming summer, which seems far away, but it's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, really.
Is I want to have like a summer camp, or a day for the girls, and it would be like this amazing, awesome mindset experience. I'm not even sure what I want to call it yet, but I want to bring in a yoga instructor and I have a coach someone that talks about food and mindset and food. And I just want to bring in these different people and these different, this different knowledge. And I want to put it all into this one amazing, awesome day. And these girls leaving just on fire. So that's, and also having these girls come together in person and having that real community feeling of all these awesome girls that want more and have big goals and big dreams and being sort of making vision boards. I don't know what, kind of combining the mentorship and the program, the mental training program, and just creating this awesome day experience. So that's something that's I would like to accomplish this upcoming year, and I'm excited that I have the time and space to do that now. And then I really want to figure out how to add some sort of like parent workshops, some things where I can get these parents together and help them and provide value to them and serve them as well, because I know they're also in the midst of it and sometimes don't know what to say or do. I mean, they're all saying the right things and they're doing their best, but I think that if we can come together and really talk about how to serve their daughters and how to best support their daughters would be really cool. I'm actually going to be doing in one of my local meetups and my calls. I'm going to do a mother-daughter thing. So I don't totally know what that looks like or feels like yet. I'm really excited for it to happen, and it's going to happen because it's on the calendar. And it's kind of like that whole taking action thing is when I put something on there, it's going to happen.
Dads and daughters too. Don't forget. No.
Oh no! Don't worry. The dads and daughters are coming. I just got to figure out when my dad is going to be in town.
I know
so
2 volunteers.
Together.
I know 2 volunteers that'll do it.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I want to do dad, daughter, mother, daughter, because I think separating them is really important, because we just everyone has their own type of relationship with their mom or the dad, and it's something I've been talking a lot about on like my YouTube and my emails out recently, and the content I've been creating is that relationship with your parents, and just reminding these girls that I know that they're crazy sometimes, but I promise you they love you to death, and just like navigating what that looks like.
Actually, I just commented on the one video you had about that, with your crazy softball parents.
Yes.
And I was like, this is actually really good to listen to as a crazy softball dad. So, yeah, I loved it.
I love that you were like just straight up like, yep, that's me.
Yep.
Calling yourself out. And I'm like, man, if only other dads just had the courage to do that.
Yeah, I'll put it out there for sure.
Yes, I love it. So those are some things that I've been working on and really excited about, because I think even my own relationship with my mom and my dad are so different, and I was talking to my mom about it and like working through like, what does that night look like? What does that experience look like? I'm like, if you could tell these moms, these softball moms, these sports moms, like what if you could have known something different when you were in, their position, like what would you tell them? So we're working through it. Excellent. But it's going to be awesome. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my dad.
That's awesome. That's going to be great, honestly. And I think
it makes them feel so special.
And I think I'll tell you, sibling rivalry would make a great one too. No.
Oh my god!
I mean, so many possibilities here, right?
That is true.
Sibling rivalries. Like you make me sit at all your softball games for 12 hours at a time.
That might be.
Wow.
That would be a good.
That could
one.
be some in-depth conversation, couldn't it? No.
Yeah, it's pretty intense right now because my brother is he's in the transition into real life phase right now, and when your sibling doesn't want to listen to anything that you say, that's where we're at.
What's that like?
Yeah, I've never seen that happen.
I'm like second mom, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that would be really interesting too, because I think we might have to do something like that. That would be fun.
I mean, there's plenty of people out there. I can just tell you from, both our team that we coach and then my daughter's team, there's siblings that, there's one that plays on the team that we're on, and then they have an older sibling that plays on another team. And it's, it's that battle. I mean, I didn't actually have to deal with that too much when it came to sports with my siblings. But in academics, I sure did. Comparing me to my sister, who was a 4.0 student, I wasn't quite there. But
Yeah, that might turn into a therapy session.
that's true. That could get dangerous.
Due to time constraints, we will fast forward through this episode.
Support you. What can I do for you to hear me in the right way? I mean, it's the same thing with the parent, daughter relationship from just a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Well,
sign my brother up for that.
Well, I can't wait to hear some of these things, honestly. I mean, there's so many possibilities. You got so much to offer and so much to build off of and gain from. And we're super excited for you and what you're doing. And we really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to our daughters tonight and hopefully lay the foundation moving forward for them. I think there's so many people that, their families, whether it's that mom-daughter, dad-daughter, teammate to teammate relationship building and grow from this. Hopefully our daughters can share some of this with the girls in their dugout as well and be leaders in that right. You know what I mean? So if you can you let our listeners know where they can find out more information about you, what you're doing full time now and what all, where they Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I know you're talking about that, your website. Just go through the list so that people can just, find you any way they can and in whatever way they're following along.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. I've really loved getting to know you guys better and supporting you guys in your podcast and everything that you're doing. It's so important, and just being able to just know you guys and work with you guys, it's been super, super awesome. So I'm excited for all the opportunities ahead. But where you can find me, my website is paigetonz.com, Paige, Paige. TON as in Nickel, Z as in zebra.com. And then Instagram, same thing at Paige Tonz. Lots of content on Instagram and Facebook. Luckily, I think I said this in my last one, my name is very original. Nobody else has my name. So if you Google me, you'll probably find something. And then my YouTube channel as well as if you search Paige Tonz or Girls Sports Mental Training Mentor, you'll find my YouTube channel, which I've really amped up. So you can find a ton of content, a lot of really great things on there. My most popular video to this date is how to talk to your daughter after a bad day. So there's lots of content on there, lots of valuable information for the girls and the parents. So those are probably my main sources there.
And as this business relationship we've developed in friendship after talking for the last couple of months, hoping to also tie together what we're doing now as a podcast and with your business, and for people that are interested in reaching out to you and getting more information and getting some training from you, might be able to save them some money as well with our relationship that we have here with the podcast. I'm not sure if you want to talk about more with that now, or if we can save that as a to be continued, but I think that would be awesome as well.
Yeah, we can definitely share that right now. I mean, might as well.
Let's do it.
So let me just make sure I have my numbers right here. But any of your guys' listeners, any of the listeners of Going Yard podcast will receive 10% off of any of my programs. I have a couple of different programs, some that are very customized and individual, one-on-one. I have some group training programs, and then I also work with teams as well. Also like one-off workshops and stuff for kind of testing it out. And I do have some really exciting things coming soon as well. So there might be some other options there, but I'm not gonna spill the beans on that one quite yet. But 10% off for any of your guys' listeners, because I so appreciate you guys and the podcast. I think it's awesome and amazing. And I want to help more girls and be in front of more girls and mentor them. So.
That's awesome. Well, sorry to put you on the spot there. I was like, my gosh, we almost got through all this and I forgot to bring that up. So, but I think it's awesome. I really appreciate you doing that for our listeners. I haven't listened to the interview with our girls yet, but from what I've seen already, I'm sold on it. So just based on their reaction. So I can't wait to listen to it.
I'll say, I think I'm going to let it go. I'm not even going to listen to it in the editing of this podcast. I'm just going to listen to it in the car.
In the car
just
when
like
it comes
everybody
out
else is going
on Tuesday morning.
Yes.
On Tuesday morning, that's when we're going to listen. Yeah. Wait, tomorrow's Tuesday, isn't it?
Well,
next
good.
Tuesday. Oh, next Tuesday. It'll be next Tuesday. All right.
When people hear this, it'll be this Tuesday.
You're right. This Tuesday right here? Okay. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, Paige, thank you so much. Now, for a walk-up song, we've already gotten your first walk-up song. You want to keep that same walk-up song? We can play off the interview with this one? Or, I mean, we can put Tyler on the spot and have him have to search for something really quick. We should
ready.
do that.
I'm locked and ready. Whatever you want to do.
If you could, now that you've had 30 days on your own, would you change your walk-up song or just keep on firing at it?
I don't know if it's like appropriate for the girls, even though they're probably all listening.
Hey, we can look up the bleeped out version too. It doesn't matter, it's okay.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, "Truth Hurts" by Lizzo has kind of been like my motivational jam. Honestly, it's not even really the words, but it's just like her vibe on the song. So that if I'm being completely 100% honest, that's where I'm going to go.
I like it. Hey, you know what? You're being real. I love it. We like real people, and you've been fantastic. You've been real with us ever since we met you. We appreciate everything you've done for us and for our girls and for this podcast. So thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to just watching you grow. It's so awesome to watch. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you, Paige. Great things to come. I know it. I'm super excited for our partnership. I'm super excited for you. You're so deserving. You're so positive in everything you do. I really, really look forward to watching you grow and watching the girls around you continue to grow in what you're doing. I think it's fantastic, and I wish more parents would spend more time realizing how important what you're doing is for their kids.
Well, thank you. That means a ton to me. So.
All right. Well, you enjoyed it.
I'm dying hearing the song in the background.
Yes. It's my favorite part of the show, getting people's minds working with our music. Perfect. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're pumped up. Stay pumped up. We will check in with you probably a couple months down the road, I guarantee it. We'd love having you on. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you, Paige.
All right. Bye.
All right. Hey, I know it was probably a long episode. If you got, if you listened the whole way through, I'm sure you did. You listened to the interview with our girls and then also the follow-up with Paige. Paige has got so much going on. Appreciate her so much, and I hope you got a lot out of that. And if you got an organization, if you're a coach, you got a team, you're looking for someone to really coach them mentally, Paige is the one to go to. Just give her a shout on all of her social media. We really appreciate it. I thought it was great.
I thought it was fantastic. I can't wait to hear what our girls had to say. Honestly, like I said, I'm really going to wait.
We only heard a little bit.
Little bit. I'm excited to hear it. I know they were super excited when they walked out of the podcast studio from it. So for me, as a dad, as a softball dad, as a baseball dad, what I saw from both of them coming out gets me excited. That's fantastic. I want to see more kids have the joy that they did coming out of this room, honestly. I think it's super, super important. I hope you parents that are listening or coaches really, really take into account what Paige is doing and what she has to say, because it's definitely a part of the game. You can take 1,000,000 ground balls, you can take 1,000,000 swings, but some of these things need a little more emphasis on it than just going through the motions sometimes.
That's right. Make sure you share this with all of your softball fans, friends, and community. You can find us online at Going Yard Podcast and at Twitter at GY Podcast. And if you like what we're doing week in and week out and you want to support the podcast, we appreciate all of those who have already. You can find us at patreon.com/Going Yard Podcast. Find out how you can help the podcast week in and week out. We love it. Thank you.
Yes, we couldn't do this without your support, whether it's on Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, SoundCloud, whatever way you follow us or download and subscribe. We really appreciate it. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Google Play, on YouTube. We got live videos up all the time, so make sure you check it out. You can find all that stuff on our website, goingyardpodcast.com. where you can shop for T-shirts, hats, mugs, all kinds of stuff, baseball or softball, whatever you're a fan of. You plenty of discount codes to save with Paige, and along with some great businesses as well.
That's right. So that's a wrap for this episode. So for Paige Tonz and all of us here at the Going Yard Podcast, I'm Dan.
And I'm Tyler. See ya.
Later.